it's the opposite of winning a lottery. You don't want to win it.
I had a person die on a bus. I had to go to the funeral and talk to his 15-year-old son. And that's not a good thing.
I need to go home to my family, and that's why safety is a big priority.
It's probably the same feeling as when you lose sight of your child. Yeah, it hits you right in the heart.
So many of us here, myself included, are completely dedicated to making sure each and every worker goes home safely and just making sure that we have the right system in place to make that happen.
The behavior observation system at CIMS consists of two parts: voice of the worker and targeted observations.
The Voice of the Worker is basically a general observation program where workers can observe and comment on their work environment. The second part is a 12-part topic-specific. So the topics include things like respiratory protection, confined space, dropped object prevention.
Your supervisor or EHS advisor can help you find a card, decide which card to complete, and indicate how often you should complete a card.
The system itself is very easy to use and user-friendly. It gets me out doing these things and holding conversations with people.
The cards are actually user-friendly, and they just get everybody thinking about the tasks that are at hand and the hazards that are going to be involved, and what precautions that we should take.
It's a tremendous tool to capture people's safety interpretations throughout the course of each and every day.
Over 660 people miss work every single day. 3 people die almost every single day in Canada because of a workplace incident. So at CIMS, we refuse to accept that. A bunch of us got asking, how do we prevent our workers from getting injured? Over and over again, we were coming back with the same answer. We need a system where our workers could speak directly to the decision makers.
Making the system work is everyone's responsibility, and the first step is to ensure we understand how the system works. The first step is filling out a behavior observations card with a safety concern, suggestion, hazardous condition, or a positive behavior. After you have completed your card, you submit it directly to a supervisor, EHS advisor, or place it in the appropriate box. Cards are scanned daily and entered into the system. The actions and issues you submit are tracked to identify company-wide trends and used to generate daily reports. Company-wide and project-specific reports are displayed in lunchrooms and communicated back to you through toolbox talks. Reports are reviewed daily and action items are addressed, sometimes on the spot. Management reviews the system regularly to ensure it is working effectively. Submitting your ideas and observations are straightforward, and to make sure that your ideas make it into the system, your forms must be completed correctly. The Voice of the Worker card is a general observation card and can be filled out at any time. To start, print the date in the top left boxes. Indicate whether you are a worker or a supervisor. Enter the 5-digit project code with numbers only. Provide the 2-digit craft code for the people you are observing, for example, 03 for iron worker. Entering your name is optional, but we strongly encourage you to provide this information. The supervisor is the name of the foreman for the person you are observing. Print as clearly and neatly as you can to ensure the information is easy to read, and make sure all letters stay inside the boxes for card scanning. Fill in the circles for the applicable items in the list. Do not use a tick mark or an X. the information will not register. You do not need to complete every line of the Voice of the Worker card, but the program works best if you take the time to do a complete observation on all the items listed. On the back page, you can reference a comment number and describe an at-risk observation and provide suggestions for a solution. You can indicate that further action is required in the box at the top. A supervisor will fill in the box when the action is completed and can track action to make sure it is implemented. At the bottom of the card, you can share your ideas about how we can make things work better, or tell us what things we are doing right. Sometimes you may be asked to fill out a targeted observation card. These cards ask specific questions about a topic. For example, hand safety. You fill out the top section of these cards in the same way as Voice of the Worker. For example, whether you are a worker or a supervisor and the foreman of the person you are observing. When completing the observations section, a good rule of thumb is yes means safe and no means unsafe. If the question does not apply, you would indicate it is NA. For example, if the worker is using adequate gloves during all work activities, you would fill in yes. If they do not have adequate gloves, you would fill in no. Worker operating rotating machinery is aware of the hazards while wearing gloves. You would fill in yes if the worker is wearing adequate gloves and can describe hazards and controls. If not, you would fill in no. And if they are not operating rotating machinery, you would fill in NA. On the back of the card, provide comments about your observations. And just like the Voice of the Worker, don't turn away from any at-risk situations. Provide your comments about anything that you observe. If you still have questions about how to fill out your cards properly, talk to your supervisor or EHS advisor.
We've looked at the data and it is crystal clear. As the number of observations go up, the number of incidents go down. It's easy to learn after mistakes are made. With this system, we're able to look at that before there's an incident. So we can look at trends developing. And then everything's also documented. We have a record showing where we were and where we're going.
I think if people see that their message is getting across from what they've written down or from what they've talked about, they feel like they've done their part for that shift every day, right?
It's not always easy to stop a worker when you're watching them work and ask them what they're doing. It's important for all of us as leaders and fellow workers that we intervene when we see people doing something that may not look safe to us.
We are very, very keen on making sure all our employees, our subs, are safe, and we want to get them home safe. Safety is number one to us.
It's essential. Without safety, we don't have a job, none of us. So it's essential for me, my family, as right here in CIMS.